Good morning, everybody. It's Deepa and Matthew, and this morning on Time with Deepa, we're going to respond to a question that came in. And we're going to answer that particular question, but we're also going to broaden it out a little bit. So, Matthew, the question was, if you can sort of pull that up.
Yeah, so someone reached out to us, Tipa, and they were saying that their mom is starting to get into what they're calling as the early dementia. So,
Okay.
not necessarily knowing exactly what that means, but early on, and is consistently worried about the health of family members who are ill. They are trying to support the best they can. They're telling her, "I know you're concerned, but I don't have all the recent details." But that response does not seem to be helpful. And
Does not seem to really be taking root and making a difference. So a couple of thoughts. So the first one is it's great that the person is aware that this is going to be a repeating pattern. So they want to prepare to try something different because what they're trying doesn't seem to be meeting mom's needs, and I suspect their needs. So they're finding that just it keeps rotating through, and so this is one of those spaces where we go, okay. So the person is in a place in their brain changes where they are really wanting to hold on to things. So historically, this was where we would suspect the person might have been a bit of a detailed person who liked to be in control of knowledge, money, surroundings, situation. So there's somebody who likes to be in control. And to do that, they connect. So they connect to control rather than simply connect to connect. So when someone is feeling uncomfortable, and that's one of those needs that we have is to get comfortable, I ask someone for information because when I get information, I feel like that'll make me more comfortable. So I'll say, and here's the thing, there is a history of people being not well in my family, and that's been going on. Sort of like there might be a history of not having quite enough money to make rent or to pay for the this or that, and so money becomes the thing I worry about. Or it might be that somebody's not home and I think they should be. I mean, whatever my worry is, it's that I know I should know and I can't quite hold on to what I know. And so that's part of my dementia. So, if we were to pull out puzzle pieces, where I'm at is I have a history, but I also have some brain changes. And I'm worried about not so much my health concerns, but I'm worried about others. But that says where my mental health is, which is not in a healthy place. And so I have a stakeholder who's trying super hard to figure out how to support me. And I'm wondering what might be happening in the environment. What are some options? What are some sort of things that are going on in the environment, whether it's the physical or the emotional environment or the sensory environment or the maybe the task environment or whatever that might be making this more prevalent. And also, I want to know how people are filling their time, like what's happening for them and what's happening for the helper. So let's get curious. So we've done some prep. We have an awareness. We do know a little bit about what's going on with family members. But what we don't know is what mom knows about what's going on with family members right now. So rather than jumping ahead, we're going to get curious about what mom currently understands and knows about. I don't really know. So, Matthew, we'll assume you're dad. We'll do dad instead of mom. Okay. And I'll say, so, Matthew, so you asked me the question. So go ahead and you'll be dad. I have to remember your dad. You look a little young, but we'll do it.
I got some gray in here. Hey, I do you know if Drew is okay? I'm really worried about him because I know he's got those things going on, and he was in the hospital recently, and
Yeah.
I think we need to.
Hey, Dad.
Yeah.
So you're really wanting to know what's going on with Drew, and you're concerned about him because you remember sort of some of the things that were happening. Tell me a little bit now. You said he's like he was in the hospital. Do you by any chance was he in the hospital for like just routine things or something else?
Well, you remember he was doing the glass stuff, and it was really hot, and he was burned.
Oh, so the glass stuff, when he was working with glass and he burned his hand badly.
Well, yeah, and I remember they were talking about they were going to have to maybe do surgery and all.
Okay, yeah. So you're remembering that. So here's pause. We'll do a pause here because in this moment, wow, I just got data because I thought Matthew was going to be talking about Drew like he was in the hospital because he had a skin lesion and they wanted to go ahead and do a surgical procedure on it or something like that. Turns out Dad is back like 15 years ago when Drew was doing glass work and he burned his hand badly. I mean, it's like, whoa. So it was really important that I pulled back on my impulse to answer or try to give him some data until I figured out a little more of where he is, because it gets tricky when someone's in brain change and they're worried, because with anxiety and worry, it actually diminishes brain capacity. So although someone might actually be overall globally in early state of brain change, in this moment they're time traveling a little bit. They're having challenges really realizing that we are talking about today and now, or maybe they aren't. But if I don't know that, I could be really mistaken in what I should say next. And what I did was a connect, a back and forth. I validated. I sort of said, tell me more about this. Was it this or was it that? Which are some of our positive action starters. And now it's like, so, hey, Dad, it sounds like we should see about getting up with someone to find out the details of Drew's situation. But I know the last time I talked to him, his hand in the burn was not at all a concern. However, I don't want to say that there's no concern. So it sounds like you really want to find out. Would you rather talk with him or you just want me to find out what's going on?
Well, I think it would be good if we talk with him because I want to make sure that he's okay and that he's got the care that he was supposed to get.
Got it. Yeah. So you're wanting to make sure. I hear you. You want to make sure he's getting what he's supposed to be getting. Yeah. So you know what? How about if I do a call and I check out and see availability and we'll see what we can do?
Well, yeah, I mean, that would be good because I'm really worried.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay, well, tell you what, I'm going to make a note. So this is one of those things, you know me, if I don't write stuff down. So I'm going to work on calling about Drew. Oh, hey, Dad, I wonder if you could do me a big favor.
Well, I mean, I can try.
You can try. I need you to come look at this for me because I've got something going on out here in the front, and I could use sort of an opinion from you on this.
Well, I mean, I'm no expert, but I can.
Well, about this, you know more than I do, I think. But let's go look and let's figure it out. Come on.
Okay, all right. I guess if we need to go look at it.
Okay, so I'm going to pause this. So, Matthew, I'm going to let you step out of the role of Dad. What did you notice that I was working on there?
Yeah, so Teepa, you really did a great job of attracting me more to you to stay with you in this moment. Especially when you started to see that my need was I needed to talk to Drew. So you set something up of, okay, here's what we're going to do to talk to Drew. You also very skillfully set it up to where you're going to be able to talk to Drew first because you made the offer of I will call for availability.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll set the call up to be able to do that. So that gives you the opportunity to check in with Drew and let Drew know, hey, Drew, so Dad is thinking that you're back when you burned your hand. So all of that, you're using your pipes and prepping the people and the place and the possibilities that could come of that. And then instead of just leaving me, being like, okay, all right, well, I'll check into that, Dad. All right. And then that's it. You continued to attract me to you by creating something that we were going to go do that's going to change the environment. It's going to change the place. It's going to change the props. It's going to change the programming, the possibilities. And maybe even the people, because who knows, I may be seeing pictures of Drew and that's what's doing this for me right now, but we're going to go outside and we're going to do something. So all of those things combined to support me in that moment, using your pipes and your 5 Ps.
And for you, the thing that I focused on is you have information I can use. So I'm pulling in that you have something I need, so that rather than being the seeker of information, you may be the giver of information. You're still not sure, but we're going to make sure that whatever I have you looking at, you do have something to offer. And so that's going to make it more comfortable for you. Now, for those of you who are interested in this, I mean, some of this we talk about in Understanding the Changing Brain. So that's a resource that is available, is out there, particularly chapter 11, where we talk about repeat, and what can you do a little differently. But we also have, free of charge, we have copies of resource cards like the pipes and the 6 pieces of the puzzle and positive action starters that might serve you well. I'm just really glad somebody asked the question, because there are other options. And even if we have somebody who's really sick and in the hospital, we want to think about what is it they're really trying to find out. Because what it says is, even if I say it for you and give it to you, it's very likely due to the wiring issues, you may not be able to hold on to it. So I want to sort of meet your comfort needs, your information seeking needs, and then let's move forward into something so that it's not an empty waiting space, because it's sort of like you're in the waiting room at the hospital waiting for the info. And there's nothing worse than that space. I've got to say, unless you have something else to do during your time there, it is incredibly hard to be there and not to know.
And Teepa, you bring up a really good point about the idea of waiting. And so if this was a situation where it might be some time before we would actually go and see the person or talk to the person, knowing too, like, people live out of town. And so if we're going to be making a trip because we're going to go see somebody, when would you suggest the idea to bring that up, that we're going to do that when there's that idea of waiting between when you tell me and when you actually go see the person?
I'm more interested in sort of things we can do more immediately, like a call, a Zoom, a something with someone to sort of fill that void, but not talk about the trip until we're ready to take the trip, because the anxiety around the details of the trip, well, it'll be bad enough for me just doing the planning for the trip. I'm not sure I can handle an additional, like, yikes. And now these questions. And now, well, how's he doing? Well, do we need blah, 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 blah. But I have to realize I'm the one that might trigger that if I'm not careful. And so I have to develop a pattern of share right before. And it's like, oh, this opportunity came up. I know you're worried about Drew. You know what? I checked, and we can head down. We can spend some time. Tell you what, we have this, we could practice packing a bag for other reasons, not related at all to Drew. We're just practice packing because if anything happens, we want to have stuff to go. Sort of like, if I'm pregnant, I want to have stuff to go to the hospital with. I'm just going to keep a to-go bag anytime I just do that because it just makes me more comfortable. And we could work on that. Not related to a trip. But anyway, that's just a thought. There we go. All right, everybody. Till next time, take care of yourselves, take care with your care, and for everyone. Working on those pauses and taking care of yourself. Till next time.
Thank you, Teepa. Bye, everybody.